What's up, party people? Your girl Paris here, and in this quick movement class, we're gonna be activating those gluteal muscles. Yes, it's gonna be a booty activator, booty lifting class. And this is, of course, using the phenomenal Bowspring alignment. And just a couple of quick notes before we hop into the movement of why it is we're doing what it is that we're doing. So quickly, the gluteal muscles are pretty big muscles in the body, and a lot of people's asses are asleep, like a lot of sleep, because we're sitting a lot and we don't know how to properly engage the glutes in relationship to everything else, all of the other muscles engaged. So oftentimes, whenever somebody says like flex your butt, this is the position that most people will take. They're like, oh, okay, flex my butt. But just notice what happened to my hips. My hips thrusted forward and my butt dropped down and my pelvic floor narrowed. This is not going to be healthy long term for the body, and it's also training the butt to go down. And I don't know about you, but I don't want my butt to go down when I get older, right? I want all of the movement that I'm doing to support my butt actually lifting and mounting upward. Raise your hand if you too want that. And if you did raise your hand, then you are in the right place. So we train the glutes in the bowspring to go up from the hamstrings. And actually, it's a pretty cool experience that I can't get to fully in this class because there's just a lot more information involved. But we activate the whole posterior chain of the body. That means all of our back body muscles. And we begin to lift the butt and the glutes from the feet and what the feet are doing. So that's just a little teaser for some future videos or my course, Your Brilliant Body, and where I detail that much more. But for the purpose of this quick little tutorial to welcome you into the expansion and lifting of your butt, we want to position the pelvis slightly forward. It's not pushing all the way back. It's just this real gentle tilt. And then that is always accompanied with full, wide, and lifting ribs. That's how it is that we'll be able to engage in all of the curves of the spine, especially this lower back curve, without compressing the vertebrae, and more so finding a length inside of that hollow curve. So radiant heart is ribs wide, full, and the energy of the ribs is lifting, and that's when it is that we begin to root the hips back. And when we root the hips back, and then begin to do these gluteal enhancing exercises, it's positioning the hips, or the positioning the hips that inform the glutes that we want them to go up. Yay, glutes that rise, booty on the rise. All right, so with that simplified explanation, let's get into this movement practice. Please have your yoga mat, or maybe not, you don't have to have a yoga mat. If your wrists are very sensitive or your hips are really tight, then I invite you to have 2 yoga blocks for this movement practice. Welcome to your space, and please have 2 yoga blocks available as an option. You do not have to have these for the class. And have your blocks handy if you do have them. And the purpose of these blocks for this class will help us stay alive inside of the natural curves, because the bowspring is all about keeping the curves of the body and the spine. And also, if you have like a lot of wrist weakness, this can be helpful in our all fours as we begin to ignite and fire up our glutes. So please step wide, point your toes forward, bend your knees. As you bend your knees, widen your hips back, and then slowly walk your hands forward, keeping your butt lifting towards the sky. Walk each knee down to the ground. Let's just warm up the spine by arcing the ribs to the left, push your right rib wide, and come back through center and take a arc to the right, left ribs wide. Just a couple more times on each side. And then using this as an opportunity to fill and widen through the side ribs, opening through the back ribs. Draw your chin in towards your chest. Drop your butt for a moment as you arc left. Lift it through center, arc right. Notice if you feel tight on either side. So keep the back heart full. And then we're going to bloom your butt. So engage in that pelvic tilt forward. Lift your chin from your throat. Now push the floor away to stay full through the ribs. So oftentimes it's really hard to hold the ribs. We want to drop the ribs because it's hard. So find that fullness. And I noticed that pushing the floor away, that sensation can really support the energy of the ribs lifting. Walk your knees a little bit closer together. Point your toes back so your front ankles flatten towards the ground. Then begin to drag the tops of your feet forward so your front ankles lift an inch from the ground. Shift your weight into your right leg and lift and hover your left knee next to your right. Begin to now lift the foot towards the sky, coming into what we call square leg in the bowspring. So the knee is just slightly under the hip. Flex your feet, relax your toes back. Now imagine that you had an ankle weight on your left ankle and you were pushing into it. Then we're going to pulse as we hover the left knee next to the right and then push up into that imaginary ankle weight. And let's do about 10 of these. Deepen your breath. Notice if you're hyperextending your elbows. It's really common. And if you're hyperextending your elbows, widen your elbows with a small little bend to the side. That will help keep the ribs full. And when the ribs are full, wow, does the full body begin to heal. Now, notice in my hips that I'm not dropping my butt. I keep the bottom of the butt lifting towards the sky, meaning I'm not doing this. Okay? It's different. There you go. Push into that imaginary ankle weight. 3, 2, and 1. Open your left leg. Step it into a humble cat. Align your left heel to the center of your right shin. Open your left knee so that your knee and your ankle are aligned. So the knee isn't really forward here, it's wider. Sit your hips up towards the sky. Sit your hips back towards your heel without dropping your butt. Pulse forward and back for 5. Hopefully this is a nice hip opener. 2 and 1. Lower your left foot and your left knee. If you have wrist issues, then step your hands up to these 2 blocks. That will help keep your ribs full, and when the ribs are full, everything is supported in the body. So just know that that is an option. The hands are slightly wider and more in front of the shoulders. This time, please shift your weight into your left leg. Hover your right knee next to your left. Booty is high to the sky. Now push the floor away, smiling open through your collarbones and your thoracic spine. Begin to lift your right leg and hovering the right knee just below the hip, and then we're going to pulse it. Push into an imaginary ankle weight on your right ankle, like you're reaching it towards the sky. Pelvis is gently tilted forward. Fill your ribs. Deepen your breath through your nose. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower your right foot and your right knee. Let's step it into a humble cat. Step your right foot to align with the center of your left shin. If we step it too far forward, look what happens to my hips. They drop and go forward. So we want the butt to shine high to the sky. Sit your hips back without dropping your butt and pulse forward. Only sit as far back as you can keep your butt lifting. Open your right knee. 3, 2, and 1. Lower your right foot and your right knee. Shift right, lift left. Second set. Square leg. Here for 10. Elevate your ribs. Now lift your chin from your throat. Imagine that you're pushing into an imaginary ankle weight on your left ankle. Push into that resistance to begin to tone and lift your butt up and in towards your sacrum. 3, 2, and 1. All right, we're gonna bump it up this time. Now hover your left knee next to your right. Here we are, going wide and narrow. Now keep your booty lifting, keep the ribs lifting, opening through the collarbones, opening through the thoracic spine. Take a deep breath into the heat that's beginning to build. Final moments for 3, 2, and 1. Step your left foot, humble cat. This time, arc your right ear behind your shoulder and begin to lift your ribs, dome your left hand. That means so we're just coming onto all of the nail beds and the fingers are all slightly bent. It's like your hand is a geometric dome. Sit back, pole vault over your right shoulder. Belly is long, neck is long. Lower your left hand, lower your left foot and your knee. Shift left, lift right, square leg. Flex both of your ankles. Soften your toes as you push into an imaginary ankle weight on your right ankle. Your booty is lifting towards the sky. Big deep breath. Relax your belly between your ribs and your hips. Refill the ribs. Commit to that fullness and your body will have a completely different experience as you reorganize yourself. 3, 2, and 1. Hover your right knee next to your left. We're going wide and narrow. Now, make sure you're not dropping here. It's going to be, notice how I just curled in like a scared dog? Keep your butt untucked. Toes are grounded, relaxed, ribs full. Breath is moving in and out of your nose. Final moments, you got this. Woo! Feel that heat. This is what you clicked this video for. And humble cat. Oh, saved by humble cat. Okay, my friends, keep the floor pushing it away to lift through the ribs. Then let's arc the left ear behind the shoulder. Your chin stays aligned with your sternum and your ears slightly lean back. Begin to broaden through your right ribs as you lift them, transitioning your right hand into a dome hand. But there's no straight finger. There's no hyperextension through any of your finger joints. So make sure it's a solid dome. And then exhale, slowly lower the right hand, the right foot, and your knee. Step your knees a little bit wider. Curl your toes under. Keep lifting through the ribs as you push into the ground with your feet to lift your knees. Step your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Take some bend and extends here. Notice my ribs are moving forward. As you bend the knees, the ribs will naturally move back, but it's the energy that keeps them moving forward, out of the hips, that will elongate the belly and help to mound your glutes. 3, 2, and 1. Step your feet wide. Walk your hands halfway back. If you have a block, this is a great place to grab it, placing it on the tallest setting. Notice that my block is just slightly in front of my shoulders. Root the paws of your feet. That's the forefront of your feet. Bend your knees. Keep your pelvic floor open and your sitting bones wide as you bend and extend. So I'm using the block here to help keep my curves. If you notice that you're doing this and you're dropping your butt, that's no bueno. So find some sort of support tool to help elevate your ribs, which will keep the hips wide and more open, more space moving through these joints. Okay, wonderful. On your exhalation, walk your hands up to your knees. For a moment, just take a breath. Shift the weight forward through the paws of your feet. Begin to push your knees forward into your hands. Now, push your hands into your knees to elevate your ribs. And whoa, there's like a lot of action happening here. Gently push your knees wide into your fingers. This is like 1% of energy. It doesn't have to be anything too big. Wide. Now, begin to push into the paws to lift and come to a standing position. Take a gentle sway, lifting the arms. Keep the knees soft. Lower your hands, and we're actually going to grab 2 handfuls of booty here. So fingers are in the inseam, and it's just right where the hamstrings turn into the glutes, and you're going to lift. Step the feet wide. Toes point forward. Bend your knees. Use your hand position to lift the butt, and then lower your hands to the block. 3 more bend and extends. Walk your hands up to your knees once more. Push the knees forward. Bloom your butt back. Lift your ribs. Widen your elbows. Hover both of the heels of your hands. Push your knees forward once again. Then, like you're doing a hamstring curl, begin to drag your heels back. You are moving them in this backwards position, and hopefully you begin to feel your glutes here and your hamstrings. Relax your lower back and then dip your right shoulder to center. Take a deep breath, lift, and then dip your left shoulder to center. Lift to center. Step narrow. Ecstasy your arms, sliding your hands above your ears. Narrow your elbows. Bend your knees. Arc to the left. Sit your right hip back. Bend and extend as you keep the weight more focused through the paw, the forefront of your feet. Lift your ribs. Peel your right ribs away from your right hip as you sit back into an imaginary chair. Here for 5. Now, when you bend your knees, ensuring that you're not just dropping the butt. Okay, that's going to be all the quads doing the work. So that's where we sit into that chair, lifting the ribs, lean back into yourself as you push your head into your hands to elevate your ribs. Inhale, lift through center. Relax your hands by your side. Pause, feel, breathe. Second side, soft bend into the knees. Relax your toes to the ground. Lift your ribs as you lift your hands and hold the side of your head in what we call ecstasy. Narrow your elbows. Lean back into your hands with your head as you arc to the right. Lift your ribs first. Take a breath and widening the sides of the ribs as you bend your knees and sit your bum back. Arc high. Keep the sitting bones wide through each bend and extension, meaning I don't drop the butt at the top and narrow my sitting bones. See my body here versus here? We want to stay wide, full, broad, really opening into the strong foundation and base that the glutes give our bodies for health and for good posture and for, just overall health. Inhale, lift through center. Lift the arms, because if our glutes are not on board, boy, are we missing a huge part of the show. Great. Okay, lower your hands and pause and feel. Coming into a lunge series, come to the front of your mat, and if you have a block, please grab it. And low globe the hands. This is all of the fingertips touching except the pinky. And then we're just going to park the hips to the right, lift your left leg, lower your left foot back. So we don't want to go too far back. We want it actually to be, here. And then lower your hands to the base of the thighs. Hover your right heel. Drag your right heel back. So it's like it's doing this, but it's isometric, it's energetic, so you don't actually see that action, but you're feeling it. Okay, take 5 bend and extends as you push your knee forward and drag your heel back. Lift your right hand, grab your right butt cheek, and you're really grabbing this butt cheek and you're pulling it up as you take some bend and extends. 3, 2, and 1. Lift the arms. Ecstasy. Arc left. Lift your ribs. Bend your knees, sit your bum back instead of down. Take a bright breath through your ribs, lifting the ribs. This will help to heal lower back pain, engage the glutes in a really important way in their correct direction, which is going up. Inhale, lift. Then either we're cultivating springiness here. So feel that springiness as you sit back, using your butt to help you step forward. Bend your knees. Let's low globe the hands. Park the hips left, moving them back and wide. Lift your right leg and lower your right foot behind you. Bend into your knees. Take your hands to your base thighs. I forgot to use the block here, but it's no worries. So just wanted to speak to that. Lower your hands to your knees. Hover your left heel. Drag your left heel back. And hopefully we're feeling this whole posterior chain action. And you can kind of palpate to notice if you feel something. Okay, bend and extend. Dragging the left heel back. It's like you're doing a hamstring curl. Isometric tone, hugging the hamstring in towards the femur bone and allowing the butt to lift up from the base glutes all the way to the sacrum. Okay, lift the arms, ecstasy, arc to the left or to the right. Lean back. Your back knee is descending in front of your back hip. So we don't want it stepped too far back. That's not going to give us the result. So 5, 4, that isometric dragging is still present. 2, and 1. Inhale, lift. Now extend the arms forward, fold the fingers in, and we're cultivating this spring. Okay, so just feel that. It's like you're a jack in the box and you're ready to blow at any moment. 3, 2, 1. Step the right foot forward. Lower your hands and pause and feel. Relax your toes into the ground. Lift into your radiant heart. Let your breath travel in and out of your nose. Okay, coming into a chair pose, bowspring style. So we're going to pod the hands, meaning that all of the fingers fit in the crevice of each finger, and the center of the palm is hollow. So not like this, but more like this, okay? And step the feet hip-width distance with the toes pointing forward. Reach the arms forward with a small little bend into your elbows, open through your front ribs, lift your ribs. Begin to bend your knees, sitting your hips back into an imaginary chair and weight them pause more forward. Each time you lower, the ribs rise, the booty shines wide and back. The weight is, again, more forward through the pause. It's not dropped into the heels and the butt is not dropping. So now we're gonna sway and arc to the left, lifting your right ribs. And then like drawing an S, we're gonna go the opposite way. Arms go right, left ribs rise, and then go to the left with the arms, right ribs, and do this a couple more times on each side, going slow, lifting, expanding the ribs, and opening the belly. Pause with the arms just hovering, the tops of the arms hovering right in front of the ears. Bend your knees, and then little pulses. Begin to drag your heels back as you push your knees forward. Let your glutes ignite. We don't want just the lower back or the quads to be doing this. 5, 4, cultivating that springiness. 2, and 1. Inhale, lift, lower. Oh yeah, just give it a little wiggle through the shoulders and the ribs, little wiggle through the hips. And then step the feet wide, move the arms forward, up and out wide. Give your body a gentle sway. Bend your knees, root the hips back. Take your hands to the ground and enjoy some bend and extends or a forward fold. If you would like your block here, that's a great place to use it. Bend into your right leg, extend your left. Bend into your left leg, extend your right, but your butt doesn't drop. The sitting bones don't narrow. So the butt stays lifted and the sitting bones stay wide through each rotation. Lower your hands to the ground, step your feet back. Walk your feet in a little bit closer. Bend your knees, shine your butt towards the sky. Push into the ground with your arms as you reach your ribs forward. Twisted cat to the left. Twist your knees to the left. Lift your left ribs towards the sky. Now take your gaze in the vicinity of your right hand. Stay here, or an add-on would be lifting the left ribs and doming your left hand. Here for 5. Another option would be lifting the left arm off of the ground in a seed hand or ecstasy. Don't let yourself get away with hyperextending your right elbow. Keep a soft bend through the elbow to recruit the muscles. Lower your left hand. Oh yeah, let's take it to the other side. Twisted cat to the right. Twist your knees to the right. Lift your right ribs towards the sky. Lift your chin from your throat. Each time you bend your knees, sit your bum back and up rather than just down. First bus stop is hand in spring hand, low to the ground. Second stop is dome hand. Third stop is a vector, lifting the arm. Fourth bus stop is ecstasy. 5, 2, and 1. Okay, finishing it out, crouching cat. Knees slightly bent, ribs full, body is long. Shift right, lift left. Square leg, here we are for 10. Notice that my butt isn't dropping. I'm not rounding and shortening my belly. Keep the belly long. I'm also pumping and pulsing from my bottom leg. Final moments. Okay, please cross your left ankle over your right knee. Lower your knees to the ground. Lower your hands to your forearm. In this falcon pose, this is such an amazing opening. We want the left knee to be slightly narrow, so it's not really wide, okay? Slightly narrow. Push the tops of your feet down and forward for hero feet. And then I like to use a block to rest my forehead here. As you lift your chin from your throat, just take some gentle rocking forward and back. Can be so soothing and healing to the nervous system when we're experiencing something uncomfortable and then we're breathing deep and we're simultaneously rocking. We are giving ourselves an opportunity to reprogram some deep subconscious programming. So it helps us to feel safe when we rock in a mindful, compassionate way. Open your breath through your body, inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose. Lift your forehead from your block, step it aside. Curl your back toes under. Lift your knees, step your left foot down. Shift left, lift right. Coming into square leg, pump and pulse it. Imagine that there's an ankle weight on your ankle, and then you're simultaneously dragging your heel back. Whoa, booty action for days. Yay! We don't want to just be feeling this in the lower back and the quads. So if you are, then that's an invitation to pause and to revisit the curves. Dragging your right heel back. Final moments. And 1. Cross ankle. Right ankle crosses over left knee. Lower your knees to the ground. Right knee is slightly narrow. Bloom your butt towards the sky. Come onto your forearms. Lower your head to the block. The block is placed on the tallest setting to support the cervical curve and the chin lifting from the throat so the neck can be long. And then enjoy some movement here, forward and back. And your butt is going up here as well, so it's not dropping. It's going up. 3, 2, and 1. Lift. We're going to uncross the left leg from the right leg. Come onto your side. Lower onto your side and roll onto your back, please. Now, lift and mound your glutes here. So the flesh of the glutes is going up. Lift your arms and then pull your scapula blades wide of your spine. Lift your feet from the ground. Keep the lower back curve as you hover your knees to the right and reach your arms to the left. Kick your heels away from your glutes so they're not tucked in here, but they're more elongated. And then twisting to the opposite direction, knees to the left and arms to the right. One more time on each side. And you're rolling on the meaty part of your butt. So it's kind of a nice massage as you transition. Do you feel that massage? It's very pleasant in my experience. And then lower your feet, grab your glutes, step your feet long, relax your hands by your side. Pull out your scapula blades, so take a moment and just rotate. And then lowering the arms again. We want the ribs, especially the back ribs, to maintain this sweet fullness that really ripples through the whole body. Making sure that we're sitting on, or we're resting with the glutes mounding up, not just sitting on the butt. Close your eyes and relax in a very well-deserved position to assimilate all of the information that you've given your body today. Feel your butt begin to expand with gratitude that you're igniting these muscles that also contribute to such lightness in your being. Contributes to springiness, feeling bouncy and alive in our movement. Stay here as long as you are able to, and when you're ready to emerge, you'll just roll to your side and get up from your side. And give yourself a little hug, a pat on the back, a deep prayer of gratitude for the time that you've given your health today. Thank you so much for joining, and I will see you in the next video somewhere along the lines. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please comment if you felt something awesome, if you felt something kind of weird. I'm available for questions, and I hope that you have a really beautiful day.